The theologian Paul Tillich said, "Whoever reflects earnestly on the meaning of life is on the verge of an act of faith." Today, we reflect earnestly on the meaning of faith and the role that faith plays in a meaningful life. Welcome. I'm Reverend Jay Brooks, one of the ministers of this congregation, along with Reverend Jennifer Brower and the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. Our worship associate today is Winterflower Regla Robinson, who is participating with us online. It's a joy to have the choir here and singing today, and led by our music director, Stephen Michael Smith. Here at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock, we create loving religious community, encourage spiritual growth, and help to build a more just and joyful world. Ours is a religious tradition that embraces the wisdom of all faiths and values diversity. We believe in using science, reason, and the gifts of the Spirit to explore life's meaning and mystery. We believe that you do not have to think alike to love alike. We gather on Sunday mornings to restore the balance of our spirits, to celebrate life's joys, and to find the strength together to meet its sorrows. So now we enter into a time of worship, a time when we consider what is worthy, what brings meaning and strength as we seek to live our values. To center us in the spirit of life, Nathaniel Lanasa offers the music of Claude Debussy. Our opening words are by Alla Renee Bozarth. Pack nothing. Pack nothing. Bring only your determination to serve and your willingness to be free. Do not hesitate to leave your old ways behind. Fear, silence, submission. Go into the wilderness to make a new way. Sing songs as you go and hold close together. It is the first of many beginnings.
Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage. We do this for our ancestors, who taught us through their various religious traditions and by their action for justice and hope. We do this for our children, who are learning the traditions we teach and who learn more from our actions than our words. We do this for ourselves, so that we are inspired to remember our beginnings, reflect on who we are now, and spread our wings as we understand who we seek to become.
And now we'll sing Spirit of Life. And please remember that if you're physically present in this room, masks are required for singing. The congregation's words of affirmation followed today, for the first time in 2 years, by the song of affirmation, expresses our purpose and intention for gathering in religious community. Please remember that masks are required for singing. If you are in accord with the words that appear on the screen, please speak and sing along with me. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek in freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other. Please rise.
serve human need. Each Sunday, we take a special collection to support a nonprofit group that expressively serves human need. For the rest of March, contributions support humanitarian aid for Ukrainian refugees. The International Women's Convocation is a global partnership of Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists who work for women's empowerment through UU connections around the world. It is a nonprofit group that has special consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council and is administered locally by the Hungarian Unitarian Church. Our donations will give immediate help to families fleeing war in Ukraine, providing transportation, shelter, food, supplies, and counseling. Make a contribution on our website or through PayPal or by text message. If you are on site, the donation box is to your left as you leave the sanctuary. In these days where compassion fatigue is a real thing, let's make this congregation a wellspring of empathy that pours forth generosity like an ever-flowing stream.
We live in a time that is difficult for humans everywhere and heartbreaking for many. Let's take a moment now for silence, meditation, or prayer as we invite into our hearts the spirit of life, the spirit of love, and the spirit of compassion for all beings. In the words of Walter Royal Jones, mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community, ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love.
listen to the wind of my soul.
Mystery births us into mystery. Startled, kicking, wailing, the human infant arrives with no idea of what lies ahead, crying for the womb, longing for safety, predictability, love. Genetics, countries, culture, family, with no choice, no power, no control. The soul meets the first path. Chaos claims some, and others convention. The soul stumbles, struggles, suffers, thrives, or does not, as the forces of heritage and family and nation exert their power. Always the soul seeks life and the mystery of the path, but must escape chaos or convention, or whatever mix of these has been its lot. The soul must emerge enough to sense the possibility, to discover what is hidden, all the while yearning for security, for love. Claiming each small happiness, yet restless for deep joy. Sometimes there is a moment. Sometimes the trailhead glimmers at the corner of the mind. Somehow the soul is quiet enough to notice the mystery calling. Turn your head, awake over there. Not fully visible, only a beginning leading into mystery. A lure, a hope, a possibility. And sometimes the soul rises, turns, releases its grip on the predictability of chaos or the predictability of convention or the predictability of whatever has been its lot. The soul emerges reluctantly accepts the invitation to mystery. The mystery that is destiny. Somehow, by some unimaginable grace, the soul turns to the path, and the path transforms the soul, even as the soul transforms the path.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we
When I was very little, my grandmother took me to her church. She left me in a big classroom with lots of child-sized tables and chairs. I don't remember much about that day, but I have never forgotten the words painted across the wall in large letters. God is love. Capital L, love. That pronouncement, God is love, shaped my theology. My roots are there in those words with my grandmother in her church. As a youngster, when I first heard the notion that anyone not baptized would not be saved, my immediate reaction was, no, that can't be true. What about a baby who isn't baptized? If God is love, God will save that baby. And I knew God is love. Our religious forebears, the Universalists of the early 1800s, had a similar idea. Their name, the Universalists, emerged from their concept of universal salvation, though their thoughts were dressed up in more sophisticated theological language. Their belief boils down to this: God is love. God will figure out a way to save everyone. In our faith tradition of Unitarian Universalism, we welcome people with different beliefs into one loving religious community. The values we share, the 8 principles, guide us. We don't have to agree on the specifics of religious doctrine. Instead, we agree that we're on a shared quest for truth and meaning that's grounded in respect for the worth of every human being. The 20th century theologian Paul Tillich said that whoever reflects earnestly on the meaning of life is on the verge of an act of faith, that being religious means asking passionately the meaning of our existence. Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? Reflect earnestly on the meaning of life. Ask passionately the meaning of our existence. That's what we do here in our learning and worship life together. Earnestly and passionately, we seek meaning. A few years ago, I was crossing open water in a brand new canoe. This, for me, was a test run of a lightweight Kevlar canoe. The water was calm. I hadn't loaded any of my camping gear, and though I was solo, I wasn't completely alone. I was headed across the lake to a YMCA camp where I was assigned to volunteer. What I didn't realize was that the lightweight, unloaded boat would catch even the slightest breeze like a sail. Halfway across the lake, I shifted my weight, and dug my paddle in to push harder into the slight wind. And it was as if a giant hand had seized one end of the boat and flipped it over. I was in the water. I had 2 thoughts. The first one was stay calm. First rule of the wilderness, stay calm. Yes, I was staying calm. My second thought was, what am I doing here? Yes, there in that cold Minnesota lake under the bright sun on a beautiful day, I was asking passionately the meaning of my existence. Perhaps the theologian Paul Tillich was not thinking precisely about big lakes and capsized canoes, when he suggested that what am I doing here is an earnest and passionate search for meaning, the verge of an act of faith. But what better time to be on the verge of an act of faith? I knew instantly the answer to that question, what am I doing here? I was there momentarily in the water because of a huge and passionate love of the natural world. Because I find meaning in my connection with nature, and because I find meaning in pushing myself to experience the world fully. I was in the water, and it would not be for the last time. I was in the water because life is too short not to love the world and all its creatures. Casting myself and my questions into new situations, new experiences, is an act of faith. The world is there, and I will embrace it. How fascinating it is to discover people who are not like me and who are equally human, equally passionate. We find commonalities in so many ways while also discovering with astonishment the beautiful differences that bring depth and texture to our friendships. Life itself is an act of faith. We do not ever know what will happen next. Now, I do understand that not everyone needs to fling themselves out of a canoe to find life's meaning. But the point is to look toward the horizon, to reframe the old ways of thought, to bring only a determination to serve and a willingness to be free. The roots that hold us close are the moral lessons, the insights, the avatars of faith that first point us in the direction of a meaningful life. My grandmother and that Sunday school lesson rooted me in the idea of love as central, love as a presence in my life, and love as a goal for my life. When we go beyond what we've been taught, when we risk learning something new, when we begin seeing the world in a new way and finding friends we never imagined it was possible to have, that's how we spread our wings, how we rise up to greater understanding, wider loving, broader compassion. We do need roots. And there are the roots we choose to hold on to, like my grandmother and the Sunday school lesson. Those are the roots that ground us. And there may be roots that don't ground us, but instead hold us back. Fear, silence, submission. These we can intentionally sever. Even making these choices, what to keep, what to let go, is an act of faith. And wings, spreading those wings, what tremendous faith that takes. Each day invites us to ask earnestly what meaning we will create. Each day nudges us to listen for the answer, to listen for the wind of the soul. Each day urges us to live passionately into that answer. So there I was, in the cold water of that northern lake, swimming a bit awkwardly as I tugged my boat along behind me. This was not how I planned to arrive at the YMCA camp for my stint as a volunteer. And after a while, I began to realize that For someone swimming and pulling a canoe, the camp on the other side of the lake was really quite far away. So I reminded myself that the risks and dangers of crossing open water are in many respects no greater than the risks and dangers of remaining safely within the boundaries of the known and the familiar. Life makes theologians of us all. But my lake adventure wasn't a solo act. There were people expecting me, and in a minute or two, just as I was really beginning to question what I was doing there, a couple of camp counselors in a motorboat pulled up gently beside me and asked me where I was going. I might have said, I'm going into the wilderness to find a new way, to spread my wings, to discover the meaning I'm going to make in my life. But I didn't. I gave the more obvious and prosaic answer. I was a capsized volunteer. In a moment, they had lifted me into their boat so easily. These were people who had capsized their own canoes, people who had also ventured into the wilderness and been grateful to the companions who helped them along the way. None of us need be alone in pursuit of the meaning of life. Our companions are here in this loving religious community. Here we spread our wings. We make life an act of faith. We sing songs as we go. By some unimaginable grace, we are seekers together, willing to help each other when life overturns us. We need one another. When life is an act of faith, capsizing is the new normal. And now, please don your masks and let's sing together, Blue Boat Home.
$1,064 in the teal window.
Still my heart can say
Spirit of life, Spirit of love, we have gathered under the banner of a shared faith. We are born of a welcoming grace that extends and receives love. We are touched by the ways we have fallen short of who we strive to be. And here we are reborn, forged by a greater courage. Let us move from this place encouraged and refreshed for the journey. Now we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into all the world.